Get your thumbs out of your ass, Disney. I am begging you. Please, do better. I mean, credit where it's due. You've made a lot of classics, some of my favorite animated movies, some of my favorite characters. American animation wouldn't be where it is today without you, but you gotta wake the f up, man. These past few years, Disney has just been blowing it. Geronimo! Onward isn't a bad movie, not really, but that's the problem. It's just good enough to not be a bad movie, told with the same structure we've seen a dozen times recently. The way Disney tells stories now is set up a location or a foreign world, throw two characters into that world on some kind of journey, and then show like 3 things happen to them and the movie's over. This formula is old as Pixar itself, with Toy Story and Finding Nemo acting as great old examples of this kind of story. But between Inside Out, Coco, Moana, Wreck-It Ralph, Good Dinosaur, Finding Dory, Wreck-It Ralph 2, love 'em or hate 'em, they all have this exact same model. But what makes these old examples fine? Well, first of all, it wasn't the only thing they were doing. The familiarity with which these movies are being made is getting draining. I saw this coming a mile away because I realized if you strip them down, Tangled, Frozen, and Moana have the exact same story. But this is just the beginning, evidence of a much larger problem. You have these journey movies that all feel the same, but we also have an over-reliance on sequels that, do not kid yourself, don't need to exist. And sometimes, if we're lucky, they make movies that are both. Why do all of these Disney movies have twist villains? Why are you making the Disney Plus Marvel shows required viewing for the MCU? Why did you just annihilate the momentum of the sequel trilogy? Why do you make all of these live-action remakes like you're fucking baffled as to why the originals were compelling in the first place? Come to find out, Disney is removing this guy from Mulan because they thought he was sexually harassing her. Disney! Can't you do anything right? All of these things point in the direction of Disney lacking the creativity to manage the absurd power they have. Is this a review of Onward? Kinda. Having seen it, I'd give Onward a 5 out of 10. Just good enough to not be bad. I think it embodies this creative complacency Disney's run into where, as I'm watching, I ask myself, why am I not interested in this? They establish this bigger world, show us 3 places in it, and that's all we see. The settings never feel cohesive this way. They feel like a guided tour. You look at movies that have good world building like Blade Runner or Disney's own Zootopia. The only recent movie they've gotten this right. Not only do they just show more varied locations, but the way the movie is structured lends these places a sense of flow. It's got some of the familiar tropes of other recent Disney movies, but there's not the claustrophobic impression that the places we see are all the world has to offer. Now, not that they have any incentive to get better because these movies are all making absolute bank, but as consumers, we have a right to expect Disney, who has every advantage on the face of the earth, to make movies that live up to what we know they can give us. I don't like supporting a business model where they don't have to put forth any effort to make this kind of money. What happened to a time where you could go to a Pixar movie and know you're gonna get something unique? I wanna know I'm getting myself into something as creative as Monsters, Inc. I want to know I'm getting characters as good as the ones from Incredibles. Let's bring back the Pixar that made the first half of WALL-E, the first 10 minutes of Up. I want to see a rat cooking some soup.